Hello, everyone. Welcome to another crazy day with Daddy Freeze. School, Na Scaam. So today I'm going to do a deep dive on this. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but that's your business. I'm not saying this for you because if you believe that school is not a scam, you've already been scammed. You understand? The fact that say you believe say school no be scam, you've been scammed. And I'm doing this for those who are not going to be scammed, or those people who feel lost because they lack academic prowess and they feel judged by those who have decided that school is not a scam. Now, let me put in my disclaimers. By school, I mean anything after secondary school. Primary school is not a scam. You need to be able to read and write. You need to be able to add figures. You need to be able to have basic knowledge of history, economics, and all those things. Secondary school no be scam, but any education after secondary school na scam. And I'm now going to put in another set of disclaimers. Unless, one, you are in a field like medicine and nursing or engineering where people's lives are going to be in your hands. So if you are a doctor, a nurse, an engineer, a pharmacist, where people's lives are going to be in your hands, then you need school. You don't need school for STEM. You don't. For me, a PhD na the highest level of scam. But I'll explain to you what I mean. Now, also, there are some people who are genuinely interested in academia. It is your interest. You really want it. Then you are not being scammed because you want it. But the scam is that you need it. That's the scam. The scam is that you need it. You only need it for specific fields. You need it if you want to be a doctor and people are going to entrust their lives into your hands. You need it. If you're going to be a pilot and you're going to fly people, you need it. Amen. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and the person was like, he was trying to brag that he had a PhD. We understand. And I was fine with him bragging that he had a PhD. It's okay. Go ahead. But then he crossed my path when he said I needed one. And I'm like, for what? And he was like, he now started talking. And I asked him a simple question. How is it going to make my life better? In my world, how is a PhD going to make my world better? Is it going to earn me more money? No. I would have made the same money even if I was a secondary school dropout. In my world, no level of education is important. Just know what to say and how to say it. Someone say it's debt. I lack it. I doubt it 100%. It is the white man's validation, a white man's standardization of your life so that your life can be measured. I sat him down and I told him something. I said, Obi Kubana does not have a PhD. But when it comes to running a club, running entertainment, running a business around entertainment and branding, I swear to God, if you go to Harvard, you know go fit do wetin Obi dey do. Say you go Harvard, you know go fit do wetin they do. Say the level of money they see, the level of influence they have, the level of control they have on resource, on products, on brand engineering. If you know how many partnerships someone like Obi Kubana has, Baba, you go do 3 PhD for Harvard, you know, still get that level of partnership. So my question now is, all the work Obi did, running a club, understanding how to run the club, understanding raw materials, understanding how to gather people. I've run club before, so I know what it takes. How all gathering the people, the right people, because Baba, 90% of clubs they open in Nigeria shut down in 3 years. Why is obese clubs? Why are obese clubs 20 years later still functional? So you want to tell me because somebody did not sit down in a classroom and grade Obi's experience, grade his marketability, grade his understanding of his product, of his consumer, of his client, according to a standardized educational system. You that you have PhD are better than him that doesn't have PhD? Make it make sense to me. I'll give you my own example. Apart from BSc, I have no other formal training in my life, as in none. I have no formal, as in I'm one of the least certified when it comes to certificates people in the whole world. But when I was 19 years old, I got a job with BCOS in Ibadan as a presenter. I was in year 1. It's a talent industry. By the time I was in year 2, I had my own show. Guess what? My interns were in final year. Communication and language arts. Mass communication. I was in 200 level. These people were writing final year. They were doing their final year internship. They were my interns. They carry my CD for me. And let me tell you the funny thing. Shebi me, I still dey school. I dey 200 level. Call out low to no go any school. Now so they carry in CD too. Because that thing they are teaching you in that classroom, when you come to us now, we go teach you the practical. The one where they tell you say go walk, we go tell you say lie yo. If you try them, you no go walk. As a 200 level student, I had interns who were in 400 level, and whatever I said, they go they write notes. Them go they write notes. And I was very small and very stupid. Because I remember one girl, I just look and say, this girl no get. I just wrote untrainable. That girl cried for like 1 week. She brought her logbook. I don't look and say, this one no get any. No, I was young. Now, imagine now, at 49, I no get sense. Anything will come my mouth, now they talk. Now imagine me at 19, 21. I no get sense pro max. As I see him, that's why I tell you. So, now, work with me. In BCOS, you can ask Femi Obong, Wale Dawn, anybody that was in BCOS with us. We used to have 2 meetings every week. 2 meetings every single week. Monday, 10 to 12. Friday, 10 to 12. Every week, week in, week out. Now, in the meetings, first of all, the first 1 hour is managerial issues. We need CD player spoil, this person fight with this person, they no bring advert. Just administrative, managerial issues that revolve around the show. 11 to 12, we used to have one man, I hear he's late now, may his soul rest in peace. Nelson Ikpaye. Nelson Ikpaye will come and teach us the ethics of broadcasting, the right pronunciations, speech bans. They will now listen to, every week, we will listen to one person's show. Then everybody will analyze. Then our guys will finally say, okay, you did very well. Why don't you change this? Why don't you change this? Why don't you change this? It will be an open deliberation. I did that every week, except when Monday or Friday fell on a public holiday, or there was a demonstration, or there was no fuel, one of those acts of God. Apart from those days, every week for 5 years, we sat down and we deliberated, we studied, and we learned broadcasting, but have no certificate to show for it. You will get PhD. Do you have that ground experience in broadcasting? Do you have it? How did that pay me off? The day I wrote my final paper in school, the next day I entered bus and came to Lagos. I stayed with two Baba in Festac. I auditioned for and got 2 jobs. I had not finished school. I worked throughout when I was in uni. By the time I was done with uni, before I officially finished uni, I don't get my work. And I worked there for 21 years. Now let me take this a little further. What got me that job? You think it is the fact that they did not even care about my BSc. Cool FM did not ask me for my BSc until 7 years after I worked for them. Something where I don't know where I threw. They say, yeah, but where's your BSc? They now brought some people, after a company grows, they now go and bring HR, and HR people want to do it. Say I should go and bring my. At first, they look and say, like, say, Fagbo Yoni. When you employ me, did you employ me based on certificate? We need it. I say, I don't know where it is. Everybody here must bring their certificate. Now I go meet my MD that day. I say, MD, they poach me for this other radio station, and they're offering me double what you're offering me. What do you advise? I don't want to go because I'm enjoying this place here. That then and then, my MD increased my salary by 50% or 40%. Just jacked it up a little. And then they now wrote him. Person where they beg me, say, make I no go. They now write them letter from HR. Me where I know the game where they play them. They now write them letter from HR say, Freeze has refused to to bring his school, his degree. My MD wrote them a letter. Do you people want to do a show? If people want to do a show, please go and do a show. Person where they call for another radio station, I beg, make it no go. They want double in salary, where they call him. You say, me I they tell and say make you wait. And I know even if it double in salary, I know even if it add half. I shall negotiate with him. Then you come they tell and say, please. That's the last time anybody asked me for my degree. I studied sociology in the university. I have sat down on advisory should I say on advisory roles when it comes to brands, Coca-Cola, Guinness, MTN and Airtel, when it comes to how are we going to run our campaign. Now they give them advice. But I no go to school, I don't have any certificate to show. None. Baba, this thing na bini be, it dey inside us. We don't need go learn am. It dey inside us. Nigerian breweries will plan a show, an event, and they would invest $4 million or $3 million in that event, and then they will hand it over to me when no go school to help them MC. Think. Because that MC, do you know an MC can mar your event? An MC can destroy everything you've worked for, all the organization you've put together. And I no go to school. All their guys went to school. But I remember some of the last words before we start the show said, "We are entrusting this into you." And I used to sit down and look at them and I'm like, do you know I could really mess this show up? Yeah, I could commit career. I can buy my career. But I'll mess these people up. I can literally just go on that stage and say, Nigerian Breweries is closing. All the work, all the planning, everything is handed over to me. And the moment I walk on that stage, I own the show. There's something I learned from one of my fellow MCs, because when you're an MC, this person come and talk to this person, I just say everything that you want to tell me must be routed through this person. Whether you are Oga, whether you are Moshe, anything you want to tell me, if it's not coming from this person, I don't care. I'm not going to listen to you. So all this experience, because there is no standardized measurement for it. You see, when you go and do your masters, they will teach you, you will write exam. When you finish writing the exam, they will grade you. And when they grade you, they will give you a certificate. We, the industry, they grade us every day. But nobody gives you a certificate for it. So what gives you the impression that your PhD, that you have a certificate to show for it by a standardized medium, is better than my own PhD that I earned on the street with no certificate except my records? How do you sit down and tell Obi Kubana that because he doesn't have a PhD, I don't know whether Obi has a PhD, but I don't think he does, all the years of studying supply chain, studying customer base, studying marketing of his brands, studying brand affiliations and partnerships, you will go do PhD? Where carry that PhD for briefcase, they find work. What makes you feel that that PhD is better than what I learned by myself on the street that is feeding me? I'm not saying this for you, the mediocres, because education is a validation for mediocrity. I say it, education is a validation for mediocrity. Because if you were out of this world, out of this box, you will not need any validation. Bill Gates no get university validation. Steve Jobs no get university validation. Mark Zuckerberg no get, he doesn't need it. You only need it if you are a mediocre. Because that is what you need to show people that Steve Jobs doesn't need a degree, he just needs to show you. They say, what do you do? Apple, this is my work. My work speaks for itself. I don't need to be validated by you. If he has, he just got it. When he started, what is it called? When he started Facebook, he did not have. I don't know if I'm communicating with you. Education is validation of mediocrity, because when you go to school and you are exceptional, you will change. Everything about everybody that was exceptional in this life, if they went to school, they had problem. It was problem. Because the school they go like this, they're going to tell them, say, this place where they go no make any sense. Always remember that the person that started Pentecostalism, where pastors are ordained today, was never ordained. Charles Fox Parham was never ordained. He broke out of the Methodist Church and started the Pentecostal movement with William Seymour. What you have today, when your pastor say he ordained another pastor, look at them, the person will start the movement, no ordain anybody, no ordain them. When you are exceptional, you don't need the validation of education unless you are leaning on it as leverage. Somebody said, Wale Tinubu, Tony Elumelu, all have degrees. They aren't mediocre. Go and ask them how many of them work with their degrees. I can tell you it's 1%. That degree is the validation. It's not that they are using that degree to work. Even if Wale Tinubu is a lawyer, I guarantee you does not put his nose inside his law firm. He will hire, you don't understand. He will hire lawyers. He will understand it when they are speaking better than me that I'm a layman. But you think he sits down and drive? If they say, okay, they sue their company to court, you think he will go and sit down with the lawyers? That thing that he learned in school, is it what made him the millions? You will realize that 90 to 95% of the time it is not. They just use it for validation. There are certain circles you cannot enter if you don't have a degree. So you get the degree. There are certain circles you could not enter if you don't have masters. What am I saying? I am speaking for your child that does not believe in that educational route. You have children that you are sending to school and you are telling them that they need this school. Now, you are not telling them that, look, just go and get this degree for the validation of it. You are actually getting into their head and telling them that the standardized measurement of how good they will be in life is going to be gotten from school. And that's the scam. You've been played. I want to ask you a question. Somebody raised the topic the other day. Professor of computer engineering carrying his laptop to computer village to go and get it fixed. One of the things that we need to understand is our educational sector is archaic. What do they use school to do? They use it to bend you to fit what they have. School will never make you exceptional. They want you to fit a certain role. And they will, until you fit into that role. But when you have the inborn ability, especially in today's world of science and tech and computer and programming, once you have the basic, you don't need to go into the four walls of a university to learn the rest. A better approach at education is understanding what you need. I swear to God, I went to uni for 6 years or 5 years. Everything I learned in that unit that I needed, I did not need more than 4 months to learn it. Every other thing was a waste. Targeted learning. Not PhD, not MSc, not BSc. Targeted learning. I want to be a plumber. I don't need to know the Y, the X. I'm not looking for X. I'm looking for a freaking leak. Targeted learning. What you need is secondary school as your standard, unless you want to be a doctor. I put my caveat again. A doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or any of those things that require you to have a holistic understanding because people's lives are in your hands. But you want to be a marketer. You don't need to go to, I don't understand why you want to go to the university to study business admin or marketing or give me another one of those courses. Why? What you need is targeted learning. 1 month here, 1 month here, 6 months internship here, 1 month internship here, 1 month. No, you don't need 4 walls of a classroom for more than 4 months. Everything else you need to learn is practical. Zoology, you actually need to go to university to study zoology because there's a lot of framework of work. But you see, when it comes to things like business admin, business management, estate management, you don't need 4 years. How do they make this into a 4-year course? It's a waste of your life, in my opinion. Health related, you need to go to uni. Nurse, doctor, I've cleared that from the beginning. You need to go to school. Public admin, international relations, insurance. Why are there courses in college? It makes zero sense to be mass communication. As in, you need to go to a uni for 4 years to learn mass communication? As in 4 years? I don't agree. Our educational system needs to be overhauled. Music. There's a lot of work you need to do to understand music. But I also don't believe it's economics. A lot of work. Economics, you have to go to uni for economics. A lot of work. It's not what you can figure out by yourself. Even sociology, you need to go to uni. You need to go to uni for sociology. But you need to go to the uni because you want to understand sociology, not because you are going to need it. Let me tell you, people will tell you not to study sociology or psychology because there are no jobs, quote and unquote, available for sociology and psychology. Me, I'm going to tell you something. The first time in my life I was unemployed, from when I was 19 years of age, was in 2022. That's the first time in my life that I was unemployed. So I can tell you for free, if you understand what you have and you know what you want, then you can build yourself around yourself. It's simple. From the time I was 19, I had a job. Let me tell you, when I was switching from Cool FM, from BCS to Cool FM, I was working the two of them together. It was my ex that called me one day and said, look, they will sack you from this Cool FM. Only you, they do 2 jobs. What if they hear your voice? So I began panic. Now I go resign for BCS. I ran it for like a month. I was coming down from Lagos to come and do my show. I will do my show for Ibadan. Come go Lagos, go to do my show. And my ex tell me, say, Papa, you go enter problem with this thing where they try you. Now make me go resign. And there are people like me. There are people like Victor Osimhen. There are people like Obi Kubana. There are people out there who have never needed the degree except for the validation they get from it. And it is unfair for you to just, so because you have a PhD and I have a PhD, my influence, how are we going to standardize it so that I can also call it an influence degree? Let's talk about it. Because you are coming with a standard given to you by who? Somebody decided to come together and standardize it so that, okay, you can have and let me tell you what standardization does. If the standardization is about climbing tree, a fish will always feel that it is inadequate. Because the measurement of your ability is according to if you can climb a tree. Please, how far will a fish go? How far will a fish go? If the standardized measurement of intelligence, of ability, of education is climbing tree, a fish will always feel like a failure. And somebody is here with a PhD, he does not have more money than me. Does he have more job satisfaction than me? I doubt. But because he has a degree by some people who sat down and decided to standardize education into that, without putting into cognizance 5 years of education in broadcasting, without putting into cognizance 21 years in another broadcast house, so my question is, I'm not speaking for the one who needs education to get a job. I am speaking for the one who can figure it out himself. I'm not speaking about you. If you need to go to school to get a job, it's not you I'm talking to. That's your life. It's a mediocre life. It's not an exceptional life. You're not going to come and change anything. Your impact is not going to be felt in anywhere. You're just going to be a rat on a treadmill running to a picture of cheese that they show you. And that cheese can be real, it can be imagined. It's the people showing you the cheese that dictate the pace at which you run on your treadmill. That's why they call it the rat race. It keeps you in the system, it keeps you in the loop, it keeps you in the flow. You are protected. You are protected. You're going to get a pension. You see, the 1% is the danger zone. You are going to blow or you're going to fall at the edge of the cliff. That exceptional zone is very dangerous. Because out of the exceptionals, 90% don't make it. The mediocres, 90% make it. They fit into that mediocre life. There's a space for them. They have a little office, a little desk. They come there. They pass. It's called passing the loaf. Those days in factories, before everything went robotic, somebody will sit down here. When they bring the loaf of bread, they just carry a car. They give it to me. My own is to pass the loaf. I collect the loaf from here and I pass it to those who will bag it. Passing the loaf. That's all the job. 90% of you in mediocrity are passing a loaf. Even if you are doing research work, your research is not owned by you. It's owned by that person who employed you to pass the loaf. Even if at the end of the day, your name is on it. Their name is on it. And they own a larger chunk of it than you do. One of the reasons why I left radio was, at the peak of my career, my radio show was bringing in about $5 million a year. And my salary was about $2,000 a month, which was about $24,000 a year, which was about, then they paid for my house, which was about maybe another $20,000 a year. So inside $5 million a year, I was barely making 50K. But I was the one bringing in the bread. It was my belt. And I sat down, I thought about it. And I'm like, all these things that I bring to the radio station, I could bring it to my own table. And I started dreaming about it, and I started looking for ways to materialize it. I'm bringing us back home. You see, if you are not in, once again, my disclaimers, if you're not in medicine, you're not in nursing or pharmacy, where one small mistake can cost people their lives. You are not in architecture or engineering. Or one or two of those fields where human life is entrusted into your hands. You need education for those fields. However, the notion that you need a university degree is a scam, because you don't. You only need it if, there must be a disclaimer. There should be an if. Your children should be told that not everybody needs a university degree. There should be an if. And those who went to the university to get these degrees should not feel more important or more learned than those who chose to learn on the streets. Our president Tinubu is running helter-skelter to get his certificate. Some say he has the certificate. Some say he doesn't have the certificate. My question to you is, does he need it? Did he need it to get to where he got to? He has gotten to where he has gotten to already. The certificate is just validation. How Tinubu went from working with Abiola and with Abiola to becoming the president. You want to tell me that he learned that in school? How he learned it, how he did it. When I go talk, say na buy am. You go, why the other party not buy? Run and make we see. You see, when you run something and say, it's easy, just run it and see. I'll take you a little bit further. All the billionaires in this country, how many of them went to exceptional schools? Maybe 2 to 5%. But remember, their children went to the best schools. Their children went to the best schools. How exceptional are their children? Mention one child of a billionaire that is exceptional. One. Bongoli said, Tinubu worked for ExxonMobil. Not a problem. The argument is the certificate. Does he have it or does he not have it? Apart from Davido, after David, you see, when I want you to be mentioning them back to back. Apart from Davido and Otedola, mention them. All your past presidents have children. Where are Buhari's children? Where are Abacha's children? Where are Babangida's children? Where are Shagari's children? Where are Abiola's children? You know that name you typed is not exceptional. There's nothing exceptional about that name where you type. You know, just delete it. In this whole Nigeria, you have only mentioned 3 people: Bukola Saraki, Davido, and Femi Otedola. That person's son that you typed is a babanla lie. Nothing exceptional. Very regular. By exceptional, I mean Femi Otedola. That's exceptional. Davido. That's exceptional. Kamorudin said 4%. I was even saying 5%, but it looks like I'm leaning towards Kamoru. That name you are typing, no be me go use my mouth tell you. There's nothing exceptional there. Yes, Ojukwu was exceptional. In the last 60 years, we've only been able to identify 4 people that were exceptional. Yet these people went to the best of schools. Even that person we will still mention is still not exceptional. Now in Papa money. Mention. All your leaders, all your billionaires.
What happened to our leaders and billionaires?
Fela is exceptional. So we've only mentioned 5 people in the history of Nigeria. So far we've mentioned Otedola. The conversation was all these billionaires who had all the money to educate their children in all the... That's my own. Okay. Who had all the money in the world to educate their children in the best schools. How many of their children are exceptional? Abacha was exceptional. He became Nigeria's president. Whether it was anyhow or not, it was exceptional. Babangida was exceptional. Abiola was exceptional. So now in the whole of Nigeria, 250 million people, we've only mentioned 6 people: Dangote, Davido, Otedola. Who else? Remind me, 2 more. It was 6 total. Burna Boy did not come from a billionaire. His father is not a billionaire. Burna Boy is exceptional where he is, but he didn't come from a billionaire household. Fela.
So Dangote's
father was a billionaire.
Oh, wow.
Abiola came from nothing. E-Money did not come from a billionaire home. Ojukwu was one of the people we mentioned. Why are you struggling? Obi Kubana is exceptional, but he did not come from an exceptional family. I'm talking about, listen to me. You did not have more money to educate your children than Abiola did. Yet, how many of his children are exceptional that we can look at them and say, wow, this person stands out? It's very hard. And that brings us back to my point that education. Now, when you look at these people, Abiola did not have the education his children had. Afe Babalola did not have the education that our children have. Afe Babalola did not go to school. He learned law at home and went to do the exam. If you read the stories of people like Babangida, Abacha, and all these people, you will realize that they were exceptional. Anywhere you put them, they will shine, they will sparkle. But then they have children who will go to school in convoy, who have police and driver and everything they need, and yet they are unexceptional. So here is my argument. The scam of education is that everybody must have it. In my humble opinion, that's the scam. You need a first degree. No, you don't need a first degree, except for validation purposes. What are your thoughts?
You knew that was my point too. That was actually my point.
The reason why
Here.
the reason why I did not make this point earlier was because I still had her in school and I did not want her to go and listen to me and say, since my father said we don't need school, then do I? Because I know what we went through to make sure every day you say, just finish your school, just graduate, just finish your school, just finish school, just finish school. But I guarantee you that the scam in education is that you need it.
Is that everybody needs it.
That's the scam. I've never needed I have a BSc. I don't know where the certificate is. I've never needed it for anything in my life. As in, I'm 49, I'm going to be 50. I can't remember where it is. I can't remember thank God I went to school with people and I was popular in school. People like Dr. Ned know me from school. So that's what helps me, because if I was just not popular in school, people for don't no believe I even go to school. It is better to have it for the validation, but don't be fooled. Now, here's the thing. The argument started with somebody trying to make me feel less of myself because he had a PhD and I did not have. That's where the conversation started. And you know me, I'm very good at arguing. And by the time I made my point,
here?
No, it was in ShopRite.
Today?
That's what brought me here. I was talking to Peter. No. Let's talk about.
Somebody did that to a
you.
girl. No, to a girl that he was toasting in my office. A grown man did that to a girl who was toasting in my office. And he said something about how many, basically, let's use the word exceptional because that's what you're using. How many exceptional influencers, or what did he say, can you mention? And don't mention that he freeze. Because you're the only person that he respects out of everybody that he thinks is not book smart. Do you understand what I mean? But it was weird that he said that because you wouldn't even cite him.
See, my thoughts are, for me, one of the biggest, you see, money is a currency, 100%. But there are some things you use money to buy that other people have, and they don't need money to buy. Let me give you an example. For instance, if you are really good looking, a really good looking guy, you're going to get a lot of free girls. Now, a billionaire is also going to get those same girls, but he's going to pay for it. A really fine, fresh guy will get girls. He might not be able to marry them, but to rent them for a weekend.
Somebody said the dullest people I know have PhD. That was so funny.
Not necessarily. My sister is very intelligent and she has a PhD.
I don't think that's what he meant. I don't think he meant dullness in terms of intelligence.
But dull in terms of...
You just lack personality. You just...
Yeah. Someone said that one, no, they work again. See, they work. Cool. Fine boys will still get the girl. Funny boys will still get... You see all these comedians? They go knock your babe. Because the babe wants to laugh. So that funny, that humor is a currency. So when someone like Ned Nwoko is toasting Regina, what will he bring to the table? He will bring his private jet. He will bring... But you see, guess what? Someone like David Beckham or Ronaldo, when Ronaldo was Ronaldo, even without the money, the girl is going to listen to him because he's fine. Then basketball comes and cracks her up. She's going to be confused. She wants the money and the comfort it brings, but she also wants to just look at this eye candy that wake up in the morning. Baba, you don't know what it's like to have a fine, to be in a relationship with somebody that is beautiful or handsome. You would just they look them like, say, now me get this thing like this. Say, eh? Like when we went to this Abuja, Baba, I've never seen taste bud paranoid like this before. Everywhere I was going with the freeze, you are so fresh. My head was, me we didn't get big head normally. My head was the size of a basketball. One day taste bud just tell me, yeah, me will begin to go Lagos. The one way you do for this Abuja don't reach. You understand? So let's open up the phone lines. Let's get people to come in and have their.
Somebody said Lagos girls don't buy, so no fine boy privileges. There's fine boy privileges though, but I don't think there's funny boy privileges like that.
Okay,
anymore.
let's remove boy. Tell me that fine girl does not have privilege.
But that's different.
Good. So
no, but that's different.
So now let me give you an example.
Naturally, not been looking at girls to collect money from us.
Let me give you an example. A girl that is beautiful, naturally endowed, pretty, good skin, everything.
No matter how beautiful she is, if she was smelling, would you be with her?
No.
Exactly. You wouldn't even give her one night.
Exactly. So you two now, you cannot be smelling now. At least.
No, exactly. You see how the smelliness has cancelled out the.
Now, funny becomes useful when you have two guys of the same economic power. Like me and Dr. John J are earning 100K a month, but Dr. John J is funnier than I am. That's a privilege. That's a currency.
Okay.
See the names where people they type. You to know, say, none of these people is exceptional. Let me bring a Abiola. Pop my money gone, oh, you're all here gathered. See, I was saying this about my work. What is my work? Have conversations. I have conversations with my kids at home. I have conversations everywhere. Fine, mama. Pretty girl. Pretty girl privilege.
Good evening, ma.
Privilege, okay.
Mediocrity. So what are your thoughts about this whole education conversation?
Yeah, true. I think skills are, they give you more. I mean, education is, well, it depends on what you're doing, but I think people need skills. Even if you're applying for a job, they will still ask you. They will ask your experiences, your skills, and you have to bring that to the table. You have to write that in your CV anyway. So it's skills. It's skills over education.
It's skills. It's especially in the Western world now.
Yep.
The Western world the whole educational system is evolving. Do you know that these days, unless in specific fields, maybe in research or all those fields, medicine, nursing, in most fields, you just need what you call power learning. 1 month of intensive care, 3 months of industrial training, you get the course, you move to the next thing. Because when you were in school, how many of the things they taught you in school are genuinely useful in your everyday life?
A lot of it isn't.
I thought you said a lot of it is.
No.
Let me give you an example. One guy said
thinking,
300 and he said 7 years later, I'm still trying to find out why I needed to learn where Y was.
True.
The Y that I've been looking for in secondary school. What use is find Y? Do you understand what I'm telling you? Now we don't know why. They give us name. They say we be Olodo.
Okay, wait. I wouldn't use secondary school. I feel like secondary school, anything you were learning in secondary school was to help you navigate what you were going to learn in university. Then what you can now do that for university. What you were learning in university, what do I apply from university in everyday life?
If you listen from the beginning, I said any education after secondary school. That was the first. I don't know if you heard from then, if you are joined
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Any education after secondary school is a scam. And the scam is
That
them telling you that you need it.
Yeah,
That's
true.
the scam there. Because
telling you that everybody needs it. Some people actually do need it. Haven't you looked at some people and you know that if not for book, there's
yes.
nothing
Now
else that
what
you
did
could
I
have
say?
done?
I said for the mediocres.
I would
Yes.
not call them mediocre.
I will, because I'm daring.
No, I won't call you mediocre because for the people who don't need it, they might not also succeed in it the way you can. That's something you can do that they
And that's what
can't.
you see. I broke this down. I said that's why I said it's mediocrity, because there are two parts.
Imagine if they called us mediocre because we don't like school.
Hold on, let me explain it to you. The two paths. Path one, you blaze your own trail, deviate from the norm. The danger is 90% of the people who do that fail. Now, when you follow the norm, 90% of people who follow the norm succeed. But it is always a mediocre success.
True.
You understand? Those who fail when they go against the norm, their failure is gutter level failure. Their success is private jet success.
Always.
Not always, but a good majority of the people who are able to. Now, 10% succeed out of the people who break out. Out of that 10%, a good 50% are Rolls Royce, private jets, the life. On the other hand, out of the people who decide to toe the regular path, 90% succeed. They get the job, they get the mortgage, they marry the wife, they pay the bills, they get the pension. You understand? Now, out of that 90% that succeed, there is a 10% that also becomes exceptional. They grow along the ranks, they make money, they also get that private jet privilege. You understand?
10%.
But the chunk, 90% of the success is mediocrity, is you just live
Yeah.
a regular life.
True.
You understand? Now, there's nothing bad in living a regular life. It's actually good. You are useful in society. But the problem is when you who are living a regular life are now looking at someone else who is on the path to being exceptional. And the path to being exceptional is very dangerous. It's very rocky. You can fall to your demise. There is no insurance. You
Just the
understand?
risk.
It is
Yeah.
risky. What do you want?
Mom said I should get something for my workers.
Oh yeah, quickly, without scattering things. So the danger now is me, I have a mediocre life. But then I don't see her gift. There's nothing there. Amarachi has taken it out. Go and call Amarachi and ask her. You are stressing me. Go and let Amarachi sort you out. Person we know they hear word for this life. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I now look at her. She's exceptional. But then I want to cut her to
Somebody
fit.
said having a private jet is not the measure of success. I feel like we're talking about it in a certain context.
We are just trying to get it to you into your brain, but you want to make a micro analysis out of something that you already understand. For the sake of argument, I'll remove you.
In case he doesn't understand, it's in this context, in terms of wealth, influence. You want to even call it materialism.
Materialism, whatever it is. Because let me tell you, Nigerians understand materialism. That's why we use it as a yardstick. Oyinbo people don't care.
So in this context, this is
If I were talking to an Oyinbo audience, I will use Isaac Newton. Inventions that shape the world. Oyinbo people care about those. Black man, just show him private jets, just show him Rolls Royce. He understands it. You guys are disturbing me. You are getting into my train of thought. Pick whatever it is you want to
started
pick.
getting better before you show them plenty wives.
plenty wives. So
Like now you're saying what's it called? You show them private jets, you show
yes,
them
now
Rolls Royce. At least they think that's well before you show them
let me
10
tell you a
yellow
story.
wives.
Let me tell you a story.
Pressure.
There was a man walking around a palace. He had never seen a hawk before. He only kept pigeons. So he saw a falcon and he was like, "Ooh." And there, as someone who's into pigeons, you must trim your pigeons' feathers, you must make them look nice. You understand? You must trim their claws so they can look beautiful. Then he saw the falcon's claws and he was like, where's your keeper? Then he saw the beak was sharp. He's like, nah. So what did he do? He trimmed the beak, trimmed the claws, and trimmed the feathers, and turned the falcon into a pigeon. That is what you do when you try to fit an exceptional into a regular. You end up trimming them, cutting away what you don't understand to fit into what you understand, because what you understand is safe. Now, there's nothing wrong with safe, but safe is dangerous for exceptional.
Safe, sorry.
It's sorry.
I dropped a barrel.
I don't know if I'm making sense to you.
You are making sense. I keep telling people this all the time.
You see, when you have, when we're talking, the guy started mentioning Pastor Toby. He said,
I'm going to say that.
Look at Pastor Toby. I said, whatever it is that you say about Pastor Toby, he has been able to do something exceptional. Whether a lie or not true he talk, the level of which people believe in him and follow him and support his cause and understand, it is unbelievable. If nobody say I know I'm going to talk, say they use juju. People they key into what he's trying to do. He doesn't even know he's doing anything. As far as he's concerned, he just thinks everybody can do what he does. And I try to explain to him that this thing that you're doing is mind-boggling. Somebody will say that he's doing fraud. How many people that are doing fraud are driving Lamborghini? Do you know where Pastor Toby's house is? Park View. I say Park View, Park Lane. There was one day I was going to visit him. The taxi driver dropped me there and said, "You live here?" Me, we are now PT house now. I think claim him. I said, "Yeah." As in, it was me and Baby Freeze. The guy could not believe it. This guy is driving a cab in London. Do you know what it is to live in a 30 million pound house? As in, how? No matter, it's like taking Abacha and saying, "Hey, Abacha was this, Abacha." He was still exceptional. MKO was exceptional. Tinubu is exceptional. Obi is exceptional. Atiku is they are not your regular people. No matter how you bend them, no matter, there's just something special about them. But you see, the problem is and that's where I had a conversation with PT. Regular does not recognize exceptional. I said this to PT today. I said, mediocrity can never understand genius. And one of the first signs of mediocrity is everybody can do it. Once somebody can tell you that everybody can do it, just know that he doesn't have the talent to understand genius. When you can sing and you hear Freddie Mercury, you will know that this one no dey normal. When you dey sing for choir, then you hear Freddie Mercury octave, you will look at, but you know, person when no sabi when your own song now. Give me song where everybody they sing. The song where they sing inside bathroom, you cannot recognize Freddie Mercury's talent. You cannot recognize Mariah Carey's. You will just know that they can sing. And you will believe that if you trained yourself enough, if you You will be able to do it. You can never sing like Freddie Mercury. If you like, eat lizard. Even Michael Jackson cannot sing like Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury has the highest range in the world before he died. Let me get you the exact statistics.
Daniela, do you know Freddie Mercury?
Yes. Jensen
What?
Jensen made us all know Freddie Mercury.
Really?
Yes.
Eddie Freeze is on another level.
Jensen has a PhD in YouTube.
Good. It's good. There you go.
They said Freddie Mercury's vocal range spanned an impressive 4 octaves. 4 octaves. Is not no. You will not understand it because you don't know what is octave. Now, people like Michael Jackson, when they hear him, because Michael Jackson on his own is genius. When he now hears Freddie Mercury, like, what? Because that thing when they sing, Michael Jackson will don't try him. He still say, you know, if you reach him, he go come bend them, go another side. Freddie Mercury, they carry and they go. So when you see where you would have stopped and taken a break, this guy is still going on. You know, no. This is exceptional. So mediocrity does not understand exceptional. That's why when you are saying who is exceptional, some people cannot even comprehend being exceptional because everything. Now, mediocrity is not bad. It's not a bad thing.
In
this context, just make it sound. It's not a bad.
Every other context.
It's not necessarily. Because everybody tries to be exceptional, but you know you are not exceptional. I don't need to tell you. You understand? The exceptional is the best mathematician in your class. He's exceptional in something. The best dancer is exceptional in something. You understand? You are just, you can dance, you will not dance offbeat. You can do mathematics, you will not fail. Doesn't mean you are bad. You passed with 5 A's. But you did not pass with A parallel. Let me tell you, when you are exceptional, even in education, just finish your exam. Now them go come look for you. There's no job in Nigeria. There's no job in Nigeria. You finish top of your class in chemical engineering.
Sure.
Mobile, now go they find you. You will have offers from Mobile, Total. You have like 5 oil companies. Then all of them will be toasting you like you're a babe. I'm telling you, ask anybody who has top of his class, first class, highest GPA from any school in Nigeria known for technology or science, even polytechnic, petroleum engineering, chemical engineering, geology. Just ask them. Baba, they toast you like babe. They will pay you in dollars. Forget that there's no money in Nigeria. There's no money because you are mediocre. Once you enter that exceptional, you are no longer among the regular. Now them go they look for you. Ask anybody that went to school in Nigeria. Ask them about the top in the class. Chemical engineering, marine biology, all those. You will think, say, they come another world, you come your own. Somebody say Charlie Poppy is an extremely gifted singer. I wouldn't say he's an extremely gifted singer. I would say he's an extremely gifted musician. Singer is different. Singer is Freddie Mercury. Singer is Iyanya. Singer is Michael Jackson. Musician is P. Diddy. He is able to combine different things to come out with a fantastic product. That's a music product that is out of this world. A melody, a tune. P. Diddy did it repeatedly in the 90s. Back to back, he did it. R. Kelly is a fantastic singer.
That's okay, yeah.
P. Diddy is a fantastic musician. He understands music, the culture around music, and everything.
Theory.
Maybe not necessarily theory. I mean, okay, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say it's not really theory. He's just the entertainer in the entertainment industry. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, Bongoli wants to come live. Let's hear him. Because I know say Bongoli go carry this argument go left now. Bongos. Now mirror, if I show us. How far?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Let me
Good afternoon,
reconnect
sir.
this. Hey, hi, how are you doing? Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, we can hear you. What's this? Because my 4-month baby has been.
First. Okay, he's frozen.
Don't show it to.
It's working now. It's working. It's good.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much for adding me that, please. Thank you very much, everyone. This conversation is a very interesting conversation, and I hope that we all take it in good faith. Now, I think there's a certain misconception about education in Nigeria, and it came from our colonial masters. If you look at the history from our colonial masters. So the issue here is, back in the days, there were very few jobs, and these jobs were majorly clerical jobs, administrative jobs, and as such, you had to go to school. So that is why they were forcing and enforcing the need for us to go to school back in the days. This was before independence, during colonialism. And that is why in Southwest, they will say, oh, the Southwesterners are the most educated in Nigeria, because Pa Awolowo and Professor Awokoya in 1954, 1952, 1953 enacted free education and also increased the amount of people going to school. And that is why when it comes to some certain administrative parts of the government, it is always reserved for the Southwestern people. Now, that is where go to school and you get a job came from. That is the history in Nigeria. Now, when we talk about what education truly is, it is branched into two different aspects. You have the formal and the informal. So I'm guessing that, or I'm thinking that Daddy Freeze is talking about formal education here. Because
formal education beyond secondary school.
Yes. And so, I want to discuss about that, because I think that our success as a country, as a nation, for development and growth lies in that secondary school / university. What formal education does for you is just for you to be able to read, write, do basic maths, meaning you can add 5 naira plus 5 naira will give you 10 naira, or 2 times 2 equals to 4. And the last but not least, critical reasoning. So the secondary school education in Nigeria should be the highest level of education per se. Now, at that secondary school level, you should be able to do all of these things that I said. Maybe critical reasoning to a little degree. Now, when you get into the university, you go into the university or tertiary education for more research. It is based on R&D. It is based on serious critical reasoning, trying to solve societal problems. If you listen to what Daddy Free said earlier, he talked about the importance of sociology. He talked about the importance of psychology. I'm in the STEM. I'm in the STEM segment. The STEM, that is science, technology,
engineering, mathematics,
math. So I'm there. So you look at all of those courses and all of that. Now, that's why I'm also advocating that tertiary education in Nigeria should be expensive. Now, we already have loan. We already have student loan in Nigeria. Because tertiary education is not child's play. We all think that once you get that tertiary education, you are guaranteed a job. No. Formal education on a tertiary basis doesn't guarantee a job. The jobs are getting limited. In fact, I am an advocate against advanced AI, because advanced AI is going to take all our jobs. In the next 30 to 40 years, what's his name? Bill Gates has actually said that about 70 to 80% of jobs are going to go away. You are not going to need those Wall Street guys anymore. You are not going to need hedge funders, those hedge fund guys anymore. You have computers that will be doing these simulations and stuff like that. If you go to the ports, for example, you may not need that much manpower. So that is why I'm saying that when those people are going to tertiary schools and all of that stuff, it is basically for advancement. It is basically for critical reasoning. It is basically for research. It needs to be expensive in Nigeria so that we know that if you are going for tertiary education, like, it is not child's play. And last but not least, at that secondary level, I'm a strong advocate, and I'm advocating and pushing for vocational education, vocational and technical education, because that is the only pathway. Because many of us here on this platform, when we talk about education, you hear, I go school, no work. You go school, you stop at your secondary school level, and then you get into some form of vocation. And we need to incentivize people going into this kind of vocation and technical schools and the likes. And that is why I am supporting that minimum wage should be per hour and not per month. Because when we know that minimum wage, for example, is 500 naira per hour, at least 500 naira per hour, or 1,000 naira per hour, or 2,000 naira per hour, or something like that, it begins to change the psyche. Because I am somebody that I look at things from a Pareto principle standpoint, where 80% outcomes are from 20% courses. I yield the floor, Dad. Thank you very much.
All right, we have our brother here, Doctor. Let's hear you. Go ahead. Before I say anything else.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for having me, Daddy Freaks. So I listened to Daddy Freaks' argument, which is, I think, to a reasonable extent, is balanced. Because there was a recent research that was published recently, which says university is still worth it. So in the UK, for instance, there is an ongoing conversation if higher education are still worth it, basically. So it has its pros and its cons, right? So before I go into that sort of research, for me, as an example, I do have a PhD in translational neuroscience, okay? And then I did my first degree in Nigeria in biochemistry. Then I did my master's degree in England, which is molecular biology, before I went on to do specialty in molecular neuroscience. So I would say, in my own instance, given the fact that I'm from a very sort of middle class, my parents were teachers and principal back in the days in Nigeria, I would say education actually gave me a good route to become who I am today. So I'm actually a lecturer here in the UK in School of Medicine. So I can say that education gave me that part and that opportunity to be able to associate with the high and mighty within the academia and all of that. And has given me the opportunity also to travel at least to reasonable countries around the world. I've been to Canada, Germany, the UK, Netherlands, and those areas. So I've been to all those countries on education routes. Okay? Now, back to the research I was saying. So in this research that they published, they looked at the economics of human capital when it comes to education. And they found out that when it comes to the earnings of people that went through tertiary education, for instance, within the age of 21 to 30, within 2013 and 2023, postgraduate students were earning £27,500 in 2013. And then by 2023, those postgraduate students were now earning £35,000, okay? And that increased drastically when it comes to their employment rate. Now, for grad students, they earn $24,000 and they move on to $31,500. Now, for non-graduates, in 2013, they were earning £18,000. So the comparison now is between postgrad
and non-grad.
Yes, so postgrad, which are masters, for instance, or PhDs, they were earning $27,500 in 2013. Then for the non-grad, which in this particular research, it said at least someone with A level. So that was the criteria for the research. Now for those people, they were earning $18,000 as far back in 2013. Now in 2023, the postgrad were earning $35,000. Then the non-grad were earning $26,500. So this is based off from the Department of Education, Graduate Labour Market Statistics in the UK. So fine. Now there is the other argument. Also, when it comes to education, they also made the case that education is not all about earnings, basically. People who are graduate, for instance, they tend to have a good life outcome when it comes to making effective health-related decisions. They also tend to have good life outcome when it comes to parenting and marriages. For instance, I'm going to use that phrase as an example. I once spoke to your daughter here who is studying, I think, genetics or something like that, right?
Amara.
And I recall the conversation, how you made your input in the way they made their decision on the course they wanted to study. And the reason why you have that high level of influence in making that decision is on the back of your exposure to education, okay? Now, if you want to go one step backward, you can also say, of course, your mom is a vice chancellor and she's a professor. So you could see, and your dad is a doctor. So you could see that those influence of educational background filtered through, rubbed on you, whether you like it or not, they rubbed off on you, and you went on to education, you did your sociology degree, like you mentioned in a couple of conversations, and then that allows you to have that level of exposure that you can then effect that conversation with your kids, and then they can make informed decision. Whereas that is not the case with non-graduates. Non-graduates are known to make poor decisions that will lead to poor life outcome. They are known not to contribute positively when it comes to electoral processes. They say they are likely not to vote in an election. And you can then link that to what you see where we're coming from in Nigeria. However, there is still the argument that is education really worth it? And now, 10 years down the line, people who have a degree, for instance, they tend to stay more in professional job because their experience and training improves over time. But due to the way the UK is structured, every year there is increase in minimum wage. So remember the breakdown I gave to you in 2013 where non-graduates were earning 18 and the postgraduate were earning 24 or 27,000. Due to the recent continuous increase in the minimum wage, they found in this research that non-graduates have actually measured up to the first year graduate out of school, for instance.
Okay, now I want to take you up on a few things. Sorry, because there's so many people lining up. First things first, I have a problem with, I don't want to say I have a problem with statistics because statistics are always, anybody can come up with their statistics. I used to work on radio and I know how we came up with ratings. Everybody has their own ratings. I'll give you an example. Do you realize that Coca-Cola is more rehydrating than water? Google it. There's a research done to it to show you that Coca-Cola is more hydrating than water. Guess who sponsored?
Well,
Hold on, Bongoli.
Guess what?
Guess who sponsored the research? Coca-Cola. So when you have a government system, hold on, Bongoli, that wants, you see, it is easier for the government to manage educated than non-educated. Because what does education do? It puts you in a box. And government has a need for that box. My argument will always be, I don't have any formal education beyond my BSc. But I have...
That's a lot. That's a lot.
No, yeah. Did I ever need the BSc? Never. So let's not count my BSc because I've never used it for anything. What I use every day is my secondary school and my primary school. The English I learned, most of it very little came from university. Now I want to put it to you. I worked 5 years on the radio in Ibadan, BCOS. I used to have 1 hour of radio training twice a week. All of us. It's mandatory. If you don't attend the meetings, you are not going to be able to go to your show. So we were forced to. For 5 years. I have no paper like this to show for it. There's none. I don't have it. to my name, but I have the knowledge. So because that is not a streamlined type of education, are you going to say I'm less educated than someone who has a PhD in mass communication? Let me take
No,
this a
if
little
you're able to.
further. Let me take this a little further. I worked in Cool FM for 21 years on the radio. I gave the example of Nigerian breweries. Their marketers all went. You can't rise in Nigerian breweries if you don't go to school. I've been their MC several times. They put an event together, spend $5 million, and then hand the event over to me as the MC. Where did they get the trust in me from? I have no qualification. There's no paper that I have that says MC. It doesn't exist. But Coca-Cola has used me as their MC. Guinness has used me as their MC. Nigerian breweries, MTN, Airtel. I don't have any form of qualification. But yet these brands trust me. And I remember there was an event I did. There was one event I used to do every year. I did it for 7 years for Nigerian breweries, handing over. They used to have what you call Gulda Ultimate Search. And the selection, I'm sure you have watched Bongoli. The selection of the inmates, not inmates, the housemates or the jungle mates to go into the jungle was done by me on live television. And I remember after our meeting, last meeting, pre-production meeting,
What is this person trying to say?
someone says the BSc was a part to NYSC at School FM and they retained employees. I did not use BSc to enter Cool FM. Some people did, but I wasn't part of it. Now, let me tell you what happened that day. There was Uncle Tony. I can still remember some of their names. There was Uncle Tony. Uncle Tony was like the Ogaden, and everybody just gathered, and Uncle Tony said something. I don't know if Victor will know, Simply Vic will know Uncle Tony. He was like Oga back then in Nigerian breweries. And he said something, he said, "We have now officially handed everything over to you." So, a whole brewery spending $5 million on an event, handing it over to somebody who, if they call them and say, "Why did you give this event to Daddy Freeze? What qualification did he show you that he could anchor this event?" And if I did not do it well, they will not have come back 7 times. This is not a one-off. Sometimes some things in life are one-off and they never call you again. Maybe they got somebody better or they just... But I did it the first year. And guess what? Every year I went late. So they used to tell me that, "Look, we like you. You are the best at this thing, but you always come late."
Why do you always come late?
I don't know. It's a problem I had. So there was something about me that this paper could not explain. It was, I didn't, when they called me to Nigerian breweries for a meeting, they didn't ask, "Can I see your BSc?" They didn't ask, "This thing I want to give you this event. What is your qualification?"
Yeah, but that is free.
So, no. Hold on.
Okay.
And I just don't want to make it about me. What about Obi Kubana? The level of business deals that these guys are doing, and I'm talking about legit, I'm talking about cars, companies that are bringing. When we went to Obi's house for his birthday, there was a compound next to his house. The cars that were parked, there were at least 1,000 cars, all these electric cars. They were at least as you just see the car, they go, you don't go see the end. These guys, somebody came in with 1,000 electric cars and formed a partnership with. What did he ask Obi Kubana for? They say, "Okay, can I see your PhD?" What makes them trust these people? GSC Motors use Obi Kubana as their brand ambassadors, and their sales skyrocketed. What is it that Obi took to GSC Motors? Is it his PhD or his MSc? Now, it is unfair for somebody who has a PhD to feel superior to somebody like Obi who doesn't, or me, who doesn't have those papers to show. But yet, we still know the work and we still deliver it.
having a PhD, having a BSc or MSc is not.
Before you comment, I want Bongoli to talk. Let me hear Bongoli.
Now, Daddy Freeze, what the picture you're painting is a little bit muddy and a little bit sketchy, with all due respect. Why I'm saying this is because there is experience and then there is education.
No, brother. Brother, what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Now, you've built a reputation for many, many years. I grew up listening to you, Daddy Freeze. When we traveled together to the UK, that was in 2008. I still told you that story. I was running towards you. I took a picture. Has spoken for you. That is a different conversation.
Network.
We have a certain requirement. So the requirements could have been such that no, education is not a yardstick in this case. Can this person do the job? Yes or no? Now there are some gigs that you go to and they will say, I want this, I want that, I want that, I want that. But in that particular field, I do not think that formal education certificate and or degrees plays a role there. I am a DJ. I am a professional DJ. I am a club professional and carnival concert professional DJ. I don't talk about my degree there. I go there as DJ Bongoli. But once I take off my headphones and I wake up on Monday morning, I am engineer Ayodeji Bakari. Now,
and when you come to Nigeria, you are politician Ayodeji Bakari.
I am an humanitarian also, humanitarian and politician and whatever you want to call me. So, Daddy Freeze, you see this conversation that I just had now, we cannot have it for STEM. Science, technology, engineering, and management. And maths. Sorry. Because if you do that, blood go flow.
Bongoli.
Sorry,
hold on. You see, you are echoing. You see, I don't want us to focus on what we agree. I want us to focus on the gray areas. I said something at the beginning. I said you cannot be in medicine or nursing and not have a degree. Because people's lives are in your hands. You cannot be an engineer and not have a degree. Because you are building a house. Make the house not go fall for person head. You cannot be into aviation and not have the necessary education and qualification. And as a pilot, you do your simulation twice a year in Nigeria. Once a year abroad. Every year you must pass your sim. So there are certain fields where you need these things. Like this field where my brother is. He is in education. He needs, I cannot just come and educate you if I'm not certified to teach. But what I'm trying to say is, how can you look at me and tell me that I don't have a PhD when I have the equivalent from the street, the equivalent from learning in my career? You see,
that is a different conversation.
It is part of the conversation. Hold on, I need you to understand.
No, Daddy Freeze, it's a superiority complex. No, you talk, sir. My doctor, you speak, sir. That is superiority complex, and that is a person-to-person issue, not a societal issue. Because for someone like me, I cannot look down on somebody that has a secondary school education. A PhD person cannot look down. I have a master's degree in engineering, in chemical engineering, to be precise. I know that PhD, they do 3 years in engineering for the most part here in America, and it is serious, deep research. And I know that in our industry, in the manufacturing industry, for example, they work in the pilot plants. They are the ones that will come up with the newest technology. They will come up with the newest products, the newest innovation. That is their own pathway. And they are going to stay there for life. In the long run, in our career path, I might end up being their boss. I will end up being their boss.
Yes.
But everybody has their own different pathways. Nobody is superior to the other. We are only providing services.
Now, how come, Bongoli, this is my question. How come people who have formal education always feel that they are superior to people who don't? That's the thing there.
Well, I think doctor has said it, and I want doctor to speak on it, but doctor has said it because for that research that was done in the UK, it shows that people that may not be formally educated make some kind of decisions. I'll give you an example, and I'll let doctor speak. In the healthcare field, how do you explain to somebody that doesn't have formal education per se that you need to be doing your medical checkups once every year, like you do your vitals and all of that? Because when I came home, I was in the streets and everything, my people in my community, I was having that conversation. And I kid you not, nobody I spoke to was doing a medical checkup. Maybe just one or two older people that have education and have worked for big multinationals that were like, okay, I understand what he's saying. You will think that even with this social media exposure, even with the way the world is today, that people will key into that, but no, that you freeze. So that is just a classical example. I yield the floor to my doctor.
Doctor, before you say anything, I want to address something. 1 second. Femi Aderogba says, you must pride over your achievements. Now, here's the problem. Femi Aderogba just summed all of it. What makes you think the PhD you have is an achievement over the lack of PhD that I have, but substituted for with real life experience, work, networking? If you have a PhD, doctor here does not have my network.
Daddy Freeze, can you let me speak, please?
Please go ahead.
So I don't know who said you don't have a PhD and sort of doctors sort of trash, right? When it comes to media, I have a PhD in neuroscience. I'm never ever going to go head to head with you when it comes to media for the fact that I have a PhD. That is nonsense. Okay? So that is why we have specialty. For anyone to tell you that because I have a PhD, I'm more superior to you, that is arrant nonsense. Okay? But when it comes to translational neuroscience, then you may likely submit to my...
I will 100% submit to you. I'll be a fool unless I have done my personal research outside of academia. Because, for instance, when it comes to another field that I'm very passionate about, theology, I don't have any formal education in theology, but I've done my research. And how do you know someone who is educated, even if it's formal or not, when they can answer a question or they can ask it, or they can ask a rhetorical question? You understand? Or they can punch holes, or they can quote. I might not have gone to school of theology, but I can quote research work that has been done.
Education is also refine your understanding and knowledge.
God bless you. So doctor, what I'm trying to emphasize here is, I did go to school because my mother literally told me she was going to drink sniper if I no go to school. Literally. Do I hate her for it? Absolutely not. I thank God my mom made me go to uni. And I thank God she did not push me beyond uni. You understand? But I thank God she made me go. And that's the same thing I did for her. There are many things I'm saying today I've never said before. Because now she's a graduate. She's serving. You understand? There were many things I held myself for 4 years not to say certain things. Because I told her, I said, I don't care about anything you want to do. Just graduate. You understand?
Daddy Freeze, my doctor, Daddy Freeze, I have to go now for just 30 seconds. In 30 seconds, I run around 30 seconds.
Okay, go ahead.
I think that we need to eliminate this elitist mindset.
Yes, that's it.
And this is not even about education or non-education. In Nigeria, we have elitist mindset. It needs to stop. I'll give you an example. A friend I would say one of my adversaries here, he saw a video of me in my community with my guys. To him, he saw me as, oh, Bongoli, you may be bigger than these people or whatever the case may be. But to me, no. These are my people. And I told him, no. I am not an elitist. I am the same like these people. Forget about my education. Forget about my exposure. And I think that we need to carry that mindset across board, because we need the uneducated to build Nigeria. We need the educated to build Nigeria. But when we have that elitist mindset, it takes us nowhere. Because where you need that uneducated person in quotes, maybe you are in trouble, you are in traffic, and then there are some boys coming to come and do some certain justice to you. It's the uneducated that might save you. When you need your car to be pushed, it's the uneducated that might save you. When you need to carry somebody, maybe your mom or dad or whoever, it's an emergency, you need that uneducated to carry you. When you go to the hospital, you need the educated to treat you. When you go to the bank, you need the educated to say, okay, investment banking, blah, blah, blah. So we need to look at it from an ecosystem standpoint, that we all need ourselves, and let us delineate this elitist mindset. So
yeah,
thank you very much.
Yeah, Bogoli,
thank you very much, my doctor. So you can
good
talk.
to see you. Yeah, good to see
Daddy Freeze, my Mama Eko, thank you very much. You see Eko, Mama Eko, bye-bye. Daddy Freeze, Eshegon.
God bless you. Bongoli, Oshegon. Doctor, over to you.
That is to also validate some of the points you made earlier, right? In that same research or report, they said, are some degrees really worth it when it comes to the university level of training? So you could see that that piece of research came in with a balanced view on the benefit and the outlook for people that go through tertiary education, and also when it comes to the economical kind of human capital and development. But again, there are some programs that there is a conversation that is ongoing that, do you really need a degree in this area to then go into the workforce? And many times there are a number of programs that you don't really need a degree, for instance. We once had a conversation here, myself and you, where I said, when it comes to BSc training, I believe, this is my opinion, I strongly believe that the BSc in Nigeria is sufficient enough. You don't really need to go outside of the shores of Nigeria to get a BSc degree, okay? Because there's no really much differences based off from what is obtainable in Nigeria today, based off from the private universities and, of course, some federal universities as well. But when it comes to high level of specialty and all of those kind of things, yes, I would advise that you go out there and get a proper specialty and qualification. Again, also of the school of thought that I see no reason why someone would leave the shore of Nigeria, for instance, to say they want to have a master's degree in business administration abroad. I see no reason for that, basically. I see no reason why you want to go abroad to get a master's degree in law. I see no reason for that, basically. But if you want to get a master's degree in computer science, in molecular biology, and all of those kind of fields, by all means, go for it. So in this terrain of, is education worth it or not? In some degrees, yes, it is. In some areas, it is not. When it comes to the capability of graduate to earn for a long time and for a lifetime, it's really, the data leans towards people who have a formal education degree at a tertiary level. They tend to earn higher over time. Whereas for those non-graduates, their earning power, many a times, based off of this report, is tied to the incremental increase of the minimum wage every single year before they can have that increase in pay. Whereas for those guys with a proper degree, they tend to rake in the money over time. So that is the differences when it comes to those areas. But again, for someone to say because you have no PhD, you are less of a human being, where I work, I'd rather you call me by my first name than to call me a doctor, because that's not important in conversation. It's my capability to deliver on the job that counts, not because I have a PhD. You may have a PhD and you don't have the skills. Whereas if you have a PhD with the skills and experience, then you're given the opportunity to demonstrate what you've got within your bags. So that is what the PhD is all about. Just having a doctorate degree, which I still have the opinion that there are some programs in Nigeria that we shouldn't be doing PhD on, those programs in Nigeria, basically. There are many programs in Nigeria where we don't have the technical skills, the expertise to do PhDs in those programs. And those programs should be programs at the level of masters, and it should end right there. But that elitism that Bongoli mentioned, I think is something that we need to work on as a people, as Nigerians as well.
So thank you so much, Doctor. And I've got my brother here. What is your take?
Yeah, that before is good evening,
Good
Doctor.
evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. So my take on this is if education is a scam, school is a scam. It's in two perspectives. Looking at where we're coming from in Nigeria, I would say education is not a scam because in Nigeria, if you don't have first degree at minimum, to go above that mid-level, it's very difficult. You really struggle, especially if you don't have good background, family, and because if as a young man you decide to just say, okay, after secondary school, just go into the streets and do whatever you want to do, you go get some vocational skill and the rest, you may just end up becoming a second-class citizen in Nigeria because we don't value technical skills. But in Western world, education, university degree and the rest is not relevant. And I'm going to say one thing. When I was doing my master's program here, I was writing something on banking, on liquidity and how it affects banking and the rest of that. So my supervisor, I was trying to just do some kind of abracadabra or something like that, I was doing a lot of write-up, but I was putting the write-up in a more analytical way. I was not, because the thing was, at the time I became lost at the time, it was becoming too deep. This man only had BSc. My supervisor, I was doing masters, he only had BSc, but he has 20 years experience as a banker. I'm coming from Nigeria, I worked in banking for 6 years, so I wanted to use while I was going, after some time, I had to ask this man, sir, please, can you tell me your background? He said to me that, okay, I've been a banker for 20 years and I said, how about education? He said, I only have BSc. So I was able to maneuver myself quickly around the technicality, the statistical analysis, do you understand? But the core analysis after, okay, you've done your mathematics, okay, let's say I've gotten data, I've done analysis, I've done reviews, done statistical analysis, done prediction, okay, fine, results are analyzed now. My analysis was making sense to me, but what he wanted, if I was talking to a pure academia, like someone that has masters or PhD, the person would fly me, would be very happy with me. But because he was a core banker, everything I was saying was making sense, but was not still making sense to him. So imagine, he only had BSc and he had 20 years banking experience. He doesn't have a master's and he was my supervisor. But in Nigeria that we are, if you look at Nigeria, you cannot. But let's face it. If someone that's been in banking for 20 years, I think the person is even better than someone that has a PhD in banking, because this same person would have experienced the period of recession. He has experienced it, like he has faced it. They know what it is by experience. They know what it is by boom.
So be careful when you say someone has been in the banking for 3 years, because banking is it retail banking?
I mean, 20 years.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, if you're in retail banking, for instance, you're in operations, you're in, let's say, phone transfer, those kind of things. The level
no, that, I'm not talking about phone. I'm talking about, let me say, core banking, corporate banking, commercial banking.
That's the right word.
No. Talking about corporate banking, core commercial banking, lending, giving out risk assets,
generating liability. To be sure that you know.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. But what I over time, I knew that, man, I started learning a lot from this man, because his years of experience as a banker far outweighs whatever I would have gone to study in uni as a banker. Would have been better than the PhD. And I'm coming somewhere. When I came into the UK, we got a job somewhere. I and some of my friends, and we're working somewhere. We had a manager. The man was very good. We really love him. Very good manager. So I was asking my friend, what do you do? So my friend said that, I'm taking a course in masters in cybersecurity. Like, master, what is? He was not even sure what masters was. So why are you doing masters in cybersecurity? I'm very sure that man would have not even had a BSc degree, because definitely, if you Western world, people they don't even value degree. After their BSc, after their SSC, they just do their GCSE, and they just take up vocational skill, whatever it is. Someone was saying something about STEM, that if you are going into STEM, you need to have university degree. I don't think that's true. In the UK, before 1980, you don't need a degree to become a nurse. You could just go to a hospital. You go to a hospital, then you learn under nurses and doctors. Look at what they are doing. And after like maybe 3 or 4 years, they just certify you a nurse. Unlike now that you need to go to school. So if you are saying that you need to go to university to become a nurse, it wasn't like that before. And they were good nurses then as well. So just like looking at the one boy system in Nigeria. And one boy, I used to know one guy, one boy, that studied with his boss for 6 years, and you that had gone to university to go and do business administration for 4 years as BSc, go to one master's school or whatever it is to go and do a course in business. That one boy will come out and do better than you, because he has learned, he has seen the terrain. See, school is good, but when we look at when you go out of the 4 walls of schools, then you face reality. Do you understand? So for me, I think, and Western world, there's something they call apprenticeship system. So let me give you a typical example. If I want to become, let's say, I want to become a cybersecurity, or I want to go to cybersecurity, or I want to go to software development, or maybe data engineer, or something engineering. All I need to do if I was a young person here, finish my secondary school, my high school here, have my GC, just like GC. When you have your GCSE, you can just apply to any firm. Oh, you can apply to any firm as an apprentice. Under that apprentice, after 2, 3, 4 years, they will teach you very well. You will learn under them, you see what they are doing. And after 3, 4 years, you can pick up job somewhere else. Years of experience that will determine how much they are going to pay you. If you come to the UK, to this UK, no matter the degree, you have BSc, PhD, it doesn't matter anything to them. They don't care. What they want to see is your years of experience. Because you cannot take off that years of experience. That's what should show that this thing you've done it for a long time. You can actually really do it in real life. So school is calm. When I mean Nigeria, when school is calm, you cannot say school is calm.
School is calm. School is not.
No, I'm not saying school is calm. No, I'm just trying to bring up the topic back. Education is not calm. Do you understand? What I'm trying to say is that the university education, the back home, I think just because of the way the economy is, if you don't have that first degree, to start life as a young person is difficult. But Western world, you don't need a degree. The person that has a degree, you earn far better than the person if you know what you are doing. You may not have a degree, you may not have a PhD, you may not have a master, you may not have a PhD. You will earn the firm, you become whatever it is. Just don't be sure of your years of experience. Most jobs in this UK, they don't ask for a degree. If I go on in LinkedIn now, or indeed say I want to apply for a job, most of the jobs are like, how long years of experience can your previous employer, can they reference you? Can you get a reference? Nobody will ask for your BSc, or they won't ask you, they just ask you years of experience. What have you done on that job? And that's what matters. I won't lie to you. If you come to Breathe, most of these young people here, except few, almost all of them, most of them, it's not like in Nigeria. Let me give it in Nigeria, here where I am. An average Nigerian person, an average Nigerian young person is done with secondary school. Next thing is university. Everybody's writing jam. I want to go to university. It's not like that here. They finish their school, they just go to maybe college, 1 year in college, or they go and do apprentice somewhere. And when they see you doing masters, like, why you doing masters? Why you doing masters? Like, it's so odd for them. What are you doing masters for?
So I don't know when you joined, right? I was trying to walk that phrase through the listeners.
Yeah, I listened to you. I listened to part of what you said.
Exactly. So I think we need to be a little bit careful here. If you look at the US, for instance, there was this research that came out about some few years ago about Nigerians and those that are earning so much in the US. Okay. And I think Nigerians were among the first time, the Asians were leading and those kind of things. And Nigerians came on that particular list. And the people that actually dragged Nigerians onto that particular top list in the US were doctors, lawyers, engineers, and those high...
Okay, we're rounding off in 5 minutes so everybody can share their thoughts.
So you can say that if you have a formal educational training in certain areas, it actually puts you in a better space if you were it in the first instance, especially for people whose background are not from the high and mighty and the wealthy and those kind of persons. So your education actually will set you on the right pedestal if you're going forward. And I use myself as an example, for instance. So you can say, yes, there is a point to be made when it comes to education. There is a point to be made when it comes to the societal impact of education. There is a point to be made when it comes to the life outcome of education, right? There are several benefits to that, both earning power and the soft power.
Of course.
Now, there is also a case to be made if, for instance, certain courses really worth the degree itself. There is a question mark there. Which that particular research was trying to highlight that there are some certain degrees that we're not really sure if it's worth it to go through the 4 walls of education of the university. Now, I don't use just one stroke to just say, okay, you know what, education or school is scam and everything. Now, to wrap up, when it comes to Nigeria, I think we really need to rework the educational framework at the tertiary level to ensure that it's fit for purpose. If you're going for education training, for instance, you should be able to do something with your hands once you are out of that particular tertiary education, which is where we really need to work on. But be that as it may, the Nigerian education system is not all that bad. I keep making that case every single time. I am a product of that system.
We don't care.
That system has its own role to play, though it has its deficiency here and there, but it's actually set the foundation if you apply yourself effectively. You can also be in the UK and go to the top university in the UK and not make anything out of life as well. So again, we need to balance all of these things, and just PhD is not a yardstick for wealth, BSc is not a yardstick for wealth, Masters is nothing. You have to apply yourself, and to wrap up, education is a continuous process. Learning is continuous, so it's not a one-off thing. Thank you, Daddy Freeze, for having me.
God bless you, Doc.
Let me wrap up with this. We're not going to compare where we come from, Africa and Western world, because an average person in the Western world, I think they're exposed.
Una no pop my money gone, no. Una just stay here 4 hours.
So somebody in Western world,
just one money gone.
A lot of things. So you see, an average person knows how to navigate with the map, understands how airplane works. Some of the basic an average Nigerian person may not know. Maybe because of the system, they see these things, they're exposed to a lot of things. But like I said, education is not scam. However, degree itself, it's the use in Western world is limited compared to the way we look at it back home. In Nigeria, if you don't have degree, like, it's gone. I would not advise anybody not to get a degree. If you're in Nigeria, you just put yourself in a very bad position. But if you're in Western world, you can do what you want to do. You don't have first degree and you still get to the top. But like I said, education will always, when you have it, even in Western world, it will pave the way for you to. It will still have you of how I put it. It will fine tune you in that area, definitely. It will fine tune you. So that's it. So it's a year and there. It's not a straightforward answer saying education is scam or it's not scam. No, it's a two-way thing, and it depends on what you are doing with it. Like you said, you are a doctor in neuroscience. If you don't have that kind of specialty, I don't think you'll be able to perform that role. So it's still, and I don't think it's everything that you'll be able to go like an one boy system, like learn in this process and make it in that very short space, unlike what you have done with education and what you are currently doing now, doctor. So it's a year and there, and it also depends on this environment to find yourself and the economy. That's what also matters as well. That's what I have to say.
All right, thank you so much. God bless you all. Thank you for joining my live. See you in church tomorrow. I'm not happy that you guys did not pop my money gun. The conversation was so intense, we forgot to pop money guns. That's so not nice. Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much, Daniela. Thank you so much, Eko Abiola, and my brother here, and also Bongoli. Big shout out to you. Education is continuous. Formal education is what's restricted. Every day, you learn something new. And that new thing you learn, if you can add it to your income generating abilities, it's a plus. You understand? The world is evolving. I'm on social media. Pella is 19 years old. I learned from him. This is their world. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They own the world. You are borrowing it from them. So you've got to be able to play catch up consistently and constantly. So we end there. Look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Take care and God bless. Hope you had fun. Share the live. Church tomorrow is 1 p.m. or 1 p.m. Don't be late. Bye.
Don't believe. Bye
Bye.
bye.